G'day, I'm Ryan, your Chief Espresso Officer, and today we're going to be looking at an electronic vacuum canister. Now, I've already reviewed other airtight canisters, like the Airscape one, and if you want to watch that, you can check it out here. But I haven't ever got my hands on, or even seen, an electric powered vacuum canister. Soulhand, the manufacturers, sent me one, and full disclosure, I didn't pay for it. They're about $89 US. However, these opinions are my own and they haven't been swayed because I got the freebie. So let's take a look. So I don't know that much about Soulhand other than they're a manufacturing company of coffee products based in Shenzhen in China, and they have cold drippers, they do electronic grinders, they have a non-powered version of the canister as well, and they also do some electronic USB grinders as well. And this is their latest product, USB charger that powers it and holds that charge in the batteries and allows you to suck all of the oxygen out and keep your coffee perfectly fresh. Now, we got sent a glass version, but there is a stainless steel one, and I think for coffees, I would rather have a stainless steel one because obviously this doesn't protect it from the light. However, first impressions is that this is a beautifully crafted canister, similar to the Airscape, and I think it's just lovely the way it's laid out. The only thing I find wrong with it is that there's a scoop that sits in here and sticks up like a little flag. I think that's unnecessary. It might be great if you're using it for other products because this doesn't have to just be used for coffee. It can be used for any condiments, fruits, anything you like, and you can store these nicely in your shelf. So I wouldn't keep the spoon there, and hopefully in the future they design somewhere else to put the spoon. But let's take a look at some of the specs and features of this beautiful Soulhand canister. Now, just a quick little thing before we get started. If you like this content and you enjoy the instructional videos that I do, please give me a like, give me a subscribe. Everything helps. If you have questions, leave it in the comment sections below. We just want to educate people. We want to be here. We love doing these things. So please, every little bit of support helps. Now, let's get on to the features. So it stands about 20 centimeters tall. It's a 1.6 litre, and it does come in a 1.2 litre, which equates to about 500 grams of coffee beans, or about 17 ounces if you're in the US. I don't think that's enough. Personally, for me, although 500 grams is great, but for people who use a lot of coffee, they're more likely to buy a kilo, and the kilo is going to be harder to store over that month or 2 months that it takes you to use it than 500. To give you an example, we use 500 in my home alone, and that's just for me and my family, not even talking about what we drink or what I drink here in the cafe. Now, it has a huge vacuum pressure, 30 kPa. I don't understand what kilopascals are, but I think 30 kPa is a decent amount to get rid of all of the oxygen that's in here. So yeah, if someone out there actually knows what 30 kPa is and can relate it to something that I understand, please do, because I'm really interested to find out what 30 kPa is. However, it stores and it pulls out down a pressure of 30 kPa and holds that for 4,000 hours, or so they claim. I haven't tested it yet, and I don't know if that means if it's standing idle or if that means it's opening and closing it as well. But it does say that it does 250 open and closes, so that aligns with about 6 months of use if you open and close it once a day. So let's talk about the lid. There's just one button that you use for the entire thing. One button. And there's 3 icons across the top that says vacuum, release, and battery. So when you tap the button, the vacuum highlights and the battery is green. So when the battery is red, it's time to recharge it. But they say that'll last you 6 months. So if you want to release the vacuum, you tap it twice, it starts doing the release, and then at a certain point it releases enough pressure, you can pull the lid off. Putting it back on, double tap again, you can hear it's vacuuming out all of that oxygen, creating a pressure, and then when it's ready, it'll take a little while. There you go, it's done. Now, it's a simple USB charger. I got it, I put it straight in, took me 3 hours to charge it up full. I haven't had to charge it again, but I've only had it for 2 months, so, or about 2.5, 3 months. However, that's still pretty good. So even if you only had to charge it every 3 months, that's not that much considering how often I use it. So when I first got it, I tested a half-cut apple and a half-cut banana, just open in there just to see what effect it might have on preserving the life of an apple. And I left it in there for 2 days. I didn't open it and close it again. I just left it in there. After the couple of days, about 2.5 days later, I took it out. The apple was still super fresh, still juicy, hadn't browned at all. The banana had browned slightly. I think if it had been out in the air, it would have browned a lot. So I think it actually does work. So from a preservation standpoint, I think it's pretty good. I have yet to see how long it lasts and how much it affects your coffee. But I would say, given that the apple and banana were in good nick after 2.5 days of sitting there, that your coffee is going to be really good months later, even if it's just stored here and you do open it and close it a few times a day. One thing that was interesting is that the banana still has a bit of a smell, and I don't think it's from the canister itself. I think it might be from just that lid. So it might need a bit of a rub down afterwards, maybe with a little bit of light soap, but don't use it on the electronics. It does actually say to wash it out with soap afterwards, but not to get any water into the electronics. Now, my other test was one of the features that they show on the website is that you can spin the canister around and all of these coffees are in stasis, they do not move. And I thought, that doesn't seem right. I'm pretty sure that's not how the vacuum works. And sure enough, it doesn't. As you can see, the coffee does move around. So a little bit of that, but if you do it in this way, like they do in the animated GIF, oh, no movement. Good party trick, that's not real. Now, one of the tricks that I think is really impressive and actually does work that they show on the website is the marshmallow trick. So the theory is when you press the vacuum and draw all the air out, the marshmallows change in size. And we're going to do a bit of a Dora the Explorer experiment here. What do you think happens to the marshmallows when you extract all of the air out? Do you think they grow in size, or do you think they shrink in size? Did you say they grow in size? Yeah! That's correct. Yeah, it's pretty weird, but actually you think that the marshmallows would shrink when you suck all the air out because it would compress all the marshmallows in there. However, they expand. And that's because there's tiny little molecules of air trapped inside the marshmallow itself. And so they're all trying to force their way out and expand the marshmallows. Have a look at this, and we'll see if we can catch it on the film. Now that is a cool party trick. All tricks aside, I think this is a fantastically crafted canister, and unlike some of the others like the fellow Atmos canister where you literally have to pump out the air, just a simple press of a button and it just extracts all of that oxygen out. And one other function which I failed to mention earlier, a special feature that was amazing, is that it detects the levels of oxygen in there, or it detects the level of pressure. And so when it gets a lower pressure, it automatically sucks out more air and gets back to its 30 kPa. And I didn't really believe that at first. However, it was sitting on my bench for a couple of days and then I heard it go off and start extracting more air out. So I definitely can attest that it does work. And so, unlike the others where you have to manually press the air out, I would settle for one of these electronic powered vacuum canisters any day of the week. I can't say it does last 6 months or 250 times. However, I reached out to Soulhand to question them about that. They have tested it thoroughly and not to worry, it definitely will last that long. However, it's already lasted 3 months and that's pretty good for me anyway. So there you have it, that's Soulhand's electronic vacuum powered canister. And of course, if you like this content, please give me a like, subscribe to the channel. Everything helps support our education of all things coffee. I'm Ryan, your Chief Espresso Officer. Enjoy your brew.